While the title makes it clear that Book 1 is the Tale of Water, that doesn't mean that's all that interests Aang. Indeed, he's received very little training of any kind throughout most of the story, just a small amount of waterbending from Katara. That's about to change with the next chapter, The Deserter. Firebending has almost never been seen to be used for good, and yet it is essential that Aang master it, and his spiritual mentor Ruko was himself of the Fire Nation, so it in and of itself is not evil. So when they come across the chance to visit a Fire Nation town having a festival with firebenders that aren't trying to kill them for once, Aang jumps at the chance. But as is often the case with Aang, he's more interested in the cool stuff that you can do with bending rather than learning properly. Aang's fascinated with a performer at a festival, but when they're discovered, they're forced to escape into the camp of a deserter Fire Nation general, who refuses to teach Aang until the spirit of Roku speaks up demanding that he does. But Zhong, that's his name, is correct. Aang doesn't have discipline yet. He resents the basics, much like Zuko did when Iroh was drilling him at the beginning of the series. He wants to get right on to making fire rather than learning the techniques for control. It continues that theme of rushing to the finish rather than doing things the proper way, of having patience or it will lead to disaster, like it did when the monks told Aang his destiny too soon. So when Zhong instructs him to try to control the fire in this leaf to stop it from spreading to the edges, Aang resents constantly being held back and tries to make fire himself. He succeeds. Oh boy, does he succeed. Zhong is upset with himself over this because he had a pupil like Aang once as well, Zhao, who has come for both the Avatar and himself. But Aang uses Zhao's own lack of discipline against him, getting him to destroy his own ships. What an idiot. Their next stop is the Northern Air Temple, where they discover that the place has been taken over by an inventor who builds for the Fire Nation in return for leaving him and all the people who have settled there alone. Aang's peeved over this desecration, but helps him stand up to the Fire Nation and realizes that they've just made a home here. It's mostly significant for introducing steampunk into this world. This finally leads into the destination, the Northern Water Tribe, beginning with the waterbending master. Unlike the tiny snow and yurt village of the southern tribe, the northern one is a bustling city of ice and numerous waterbenders. Master Pakku is the best, but he's a hard man, much more than even Zhong, and he won't train Katara because in their tribe, waterbending women learned healing rather than combat. Katara had actually learned a bit about that when Aang, set her on fire, but she wants to learn to fight. Perhaps she's as motivated to protect as Sokka was because of what happened, to be able to fight to defend one's home, one's loved ones. But it's all speculation since he doesn't want to train her. But while speaking with her healing instructor, she learns that Gran was actually from here, and her necklace, a betrothal gift bestowed upon her by a waterbender that she was arranged to marry, but didn't. Guy's probably a bitter old man by now in desperate need of getting laid, and nothing else to do but practice his waterbending for half a century. Wonder who that sounds like.
You are no longer welcome as my student.
Yeah, let the whole world fall under the reign of the Fire Nation. Thanks, Master Blue Balls. He's mad at Aang for teaching some of his waterbending tricks to Katara, so they try to appeal to the head of the tribe, but it requires her to apologize. It's finally too much, and she challenges him to a fight because, well, when you got magical powers, that's just kind of the thing you do. She doesn't do half bad, but obviously she can't beat the guy that she's hoping would train her. But when he finds her necklace, it's revealed that he was the one who made it. What a surprise. He changes his mind and decides to train Aang and Katara. Happy ending. Oh yeah. During this, Zhao has been preparing to get Aang with an all-out assault on the Northern Water Tribe, but he needs to keep Zuko from getting underfoot, so he arranges the pirates that Katara stole the water scroll from to destroy his ship. With Zuko supposedly dead, Iroh joins up with Zhao as his general for the attack, but it's to escort Zuko to the North Pole in disguise. You clever, dirty old man. Iroh sings a song, by the way, for music night with his men, and it plays as an instrumental throughout this part and the following two. But its words, winter, spring, summer, fall, describe the cycle of the elements as well, water, earth, fire, air, respectively. As we just had the winter solstice, then it's appropriate we're in the water cycle now, and the defeat of the Fire Lord by the end of summer for the end of the fire cycle. In the third plot, Sokka has fallen for the princess, Yue, but it's complicated. She's in an arranged marriage with a guy she doesn't love, and who only wants her because it'll give him power. Not that it'll matter if they're conquered by the invading armada, which brings us to the Siege of the North. Katara has made incredible progress in waterbending, and Aang, well, is Aang. You got just 2 episodes left to finish water, but he may want to work on this. Sokka's still making the moves, pulling out the little-known door to every girl's heart. Yes, the never-ending story. But it's cut short when they discover soot mixed with snow. The fleet is approaching. Oh man, is Aang ready to face this? Alright, looks like we're going to need a plan B here. They're going to try to infiltrate and take out Zhao, led by Han, who doesn't much care for Sokka, and what's worse...
Princess Yue's marrying you?
Yeah. What of it?
Oh, or nothing. Anyway, the key to defeating Zhao is to cover yourself in gasoline and then try scratching his belly while saying, "Who's the good boy then?" Sokka eventually can't take any more of Han's jackassery and fights him, getting pulled off the mission, although in reality it's so he can be made Yui's bodyguard should the worst happen. So his journey comes back to the beginning, starting out as a lone defender of his people to the lone defender of the girl he loves. In the meantime, Aang has learned that making a snowman and rolling around in a circle doesn't do much to prep you for combat, and is distraught that it isn't going to be enough to stop the Fire Nation. But during the nighttime ceasefire, he hits upon the idea to ask the spirits for help. Luckily, there's a little cubbyhole full of spring happiness stuff where the spirit energy is concentrated, and 2 fish like yin and yang circle one another. This helps Aang enter into the spirit world, and it is also symbolic of the fight about to take place. For Zuko has managed to use his firebending to survive the frigid waters and arrive inside this place, to take the Avatar while he's meditating, but Katara plans to stop him. There are some somewhat contradictory sources of information on yin-yang. The definition that I've been provided that I will use is that it is a philosophy about balanced, interconnected opposites. And while the Fire Nation has been after Aang this entire book, its true counterpart isn't the Air Tribe, it's the Water Tribe, where it all began. The reason for the ceasefire, see, is that firebenders are stronger with the sun, because it provides energy, while the waterbenders are stronger with the moon, because it creates the tides. The battle between Katara and Zuko includes many elements straight out of the list from yin and yang respectively. Moon, sun. Water, summer. Feminine, masculine. Contraction, expansion. And of course, water and fire. Katara is winning until sunrise, but Zuko can rally and claim Aang's body. Okay, I'll admit, I've got no plan. Honestly, things never go well enough to really need one by this point. Zhao, though, has his own plan. Besides recovering the Avatar and conquering the Northern Water Tribe, both kind of big jobs separately, Admiral I set fire to my own frickin' boats thinks that he can pull off both those and a third big project, namely, destroy the moon. Really? Murdering the moon. That's not an evil plan you get very often. Never mind the obsession that it seems to be for Zhao, that it's his great destiny. I realize my plan might seem insane at first glance, but you see, if we destroy the moon, we'll cripple the greatest threat we face. The waterbenders? No, werewolves! They're everywhere, I tell you. While Admiral Crazy Von Crazyton works to complete his plan, Aang searches for the moon and ocean spirits for help, only to find Roku's shade advising him that they have already left the mortal world. In fact, they did so long ago, and the only one who might remember is a malevolent old spirit, Ko, who likes to steal your face. To avoid this fate, Aang must remain completely expressionless no matter what Ko does, which requires the discipline and self-control that's been absent from his training all throughout Water. But while Ko's a threat, he does answer Aang's question.
Their spirit names are Twi and La. Push and pull. And that has been the nature of the relationship for all time.
There you go, bringing you the truth, no matter how bad it hurts. A quick return, rescue, and arrival at the oasis just in time for Zhao to put the moon spirit, one of the circling koi fish, in a bag. You don't just kill the fish, you got to put it in a bag first, if you want to do it right, I'm guessing. Zhao has really done a good job of bringing the word lunatic back to its roots. Anyway, everybody's there to try to warn him not to do this because of the balance, the yin-yang symbol illustrating that both sides are necessary. Even Iroh preparing to attack Zhao if he goes ahead with his anti-lunar plan. But the thing about a guy crazy enough to put a mob contract out on the moon is He's probably just crazy enough to go all the way with it. So he kills it, and the sky darkens. And now Aang and the ocean spirit unite against the Fire Nation. I tried to think of the most harmless thing, something that could never ever possibly destroy us. The solution comes from a story the princess told of her birth, of how she was so sick, so her parents, having reached the limits of what their universal healthcare system would allow, were reduced to putting her in the oasis and letting the moon spirit heal her, putting some of its energy into her to give her life. Iroh realizes it can now go the other way, restoring the moon spirit, but at the cost of Yui's life. Despite Sokka's pleading, she insists that she has to do this for her people. Before, she had said that she was going to have to do this with her arranged marriage thing, to do it for her people. But she despised doing that. But now, it's her choice. It's her creating her own destiny to save her people. And with it, she restores the moon spirit, but reappears to them briefly as herself in a celestial form, and then Sokka makes out with it. Good for him. With the Fire Nation in defeat and Zhao killed off, he never saw that coming. He always thought it was going to be werewolves that got him in the end. It's time for some reflection. Katara will be training Aang. Many from the north will head south to rebuild Katara and Sokka's village, including Pakku. And it also seems that Zuko's own journey is complete. As he and Iroh float off, just the two of them, he seems to have finally given up on his quest for Aang and begun a new one. So the Fire Lord sends a new player into the game, Zuko's sister, the prodigy that he was a joke next to. Uh-oh. Next month we take a look at Book 2, Earth.
Take them to the refurbished chamber that was once bad.